Okay. So we are opening the Dryden Rail Trail Task Force May meeting at 7:03, and I am recording, yes. I thought that the minutes were not recorded from last month because they did not show up in the town archives for 2 weeks. And I was flipping out and I told Rose, well, you weren't there, so I'll write them. And then I looked one more time and they appeared. It must have been that it was a long meeting and it took a long time to transcribe. I'm not really sure. Anyway, and eventually they appear in the town archives, and welcome everybody. So let's start with just quick introductions, because again, we have some guests here today. So I'll start and we'll go around the Caldwell room and then we'll go to online guests. So I'm Alice Green and I've been calling myself chair of the task force. That's because you are.
I'm Chris Tassali-Himes, task force member, resident in Etna.
I'm Diane Tassali-Himes, task force member and chair of the design committee, and wondering how we get Alice to be officially declared chair of the
We'll talk about that a little bit tonight.
I am Rose Borsick, resident and task force member and
Okay,
secretary.
that's great.
I'm Marion Glenn, and I live on Wood Road in Dryden, and sort of at the area.
Yeah.
Although my mailbox is Freeville. So yeah, and great to be here. I'm very interested in forestation, reforesting the area adjacent to the rail trail. So
have a form, so I think we will.
Great. Since we went to you, let's go to Julian.
I'm Julian. I'm a high school student at Ithaca High School, and I live in Dryden.
Yay, thank you.
I'm Tony Brentra. I live in Ellis Hollow and a member of the task force.
Great.
Chip McAlpine, resident of Freeville and frequent trail user.
Todd Bittner. I'm the natural arts director at Cornell Botanic Gardens, and I'm a task force member and a resident of Dryden.
Susan Ashdown, I live in Varna, task force member. Sue Funicelli, task force member, I live in Varna.
Great. And next I see Jacob.
Hello, Jacob, graduated from Dryden High School in 2015, doing my master's now in urban planning at UB, and I feel bad that I've missed the past couple of meetings, but I've been hard at work learning about urban planning, and it's really great to see all y'all again.
You're always welcome, Jacob. Thank you. Judy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Judy Pierpont. I'm a member of the task force. And I also have a Freeville mailing address, though I'm on Mount Pleasant. Thanks. Sorry, I'm not there.
Great. Let's see, Diane, you're in 2 places and you already introduced yourself. So next, Gwen.
You might not know what we're doing because she just came in.
Gwen, we're just introducing ourselves.
Should I say something? Hi, I'm Gwen Beck from Freeville. I'm on the task force. Hello, everyone.
Thank you. And Dan.
Good evening, everyone. Dan Lamb. I'm on the town board, deputy supervisor, as a matter of fact.
Dan is juggling meetings tonight, and Dan, I don't know how much longer we're going to have you. Should we just get your report before we move forward to take the to pass the last minutes?
Yeah, we probably better do that. Thanks, Alice. I'm the committee of another meeting that's going on right now on my other screen. Who knows what they're saying about me? But, you know, we had this bid opening on the 8th, and we were excited because we received 4 bids for the pedestrian bridge project, and they ran the gamut from about $3.1 million to just over $4 million. And we were excited about the price tag of the lower ones. However, since the bid opening, one of the bidders challenged another bidder and was successful in that challenge. And it appears that we'll have to step back, look at the challenges. The New York State Department of Transportation is aware of this. It looks like the low bidder didn't dot all their I's and cross their T's. There are a number of proofs that you have to provide when you do a bid like this in terms of diligence and verifying that you're going to, say, solicit project support from minority-owned businesses, for instance, and they couldn't document that fully. So what we've decided is to most likely, unless we hear otherwise from DOT between now and Thursday, is to reopen the bidding process. And town board's going to have a special meeting on Thursday at 5:30, where we'll just decide in public that we weren't satisfied with the response and that we will reopen the bidding process probably in mid-June, as soon as we can get that approved by New York State Department of Transportation. We think they'll allow us to do it by about mid-June. So that's our plan right now. And I think that's all for the good. The company that came in lowest will have to fix what they did wrong and rebid. We'll have a chance to maybe catch a few more companies that the timing wasn't right for in the prior process, or ones that so you know me, I always like to see the positive in this. I would like to see bids. I was encouraged by the price tag of some of these bids, and we don't see this as necessarily a bad thing. That it slows down the process of this work that we do want to have started this year. So that's the update. I guess it's it started out as good news, but then it's news. Any questions for me?
Dan, I got a question. You had mentioned in our prior meeting that a bridge company had reached out to you about not being happy that they were not made aware of this opportunity. Are we going to approach this differently with those other potential vendors?
Absolutely. I've already discussed that with Ray, and what Todd's referring to is like a pre-bidders meeting, and a place where we can share with anyone interested in bidding any of the vendors who have heard about this project that want to be involved. So there could be a case where Economy Paving of Cortland did not know that bridge in Minnesota has a suitable bridge for this project. So what we want to do is reopen that, and I've asked Ray to look into that process so that we can establish that. So anyone who opens this bid process knows that we'll keep a listing of potential vendors, and I have this guy's number that I can call him, and the guy from Minnesota who contacted me, and make sure that we incorporate that in the hopes of driving down the process, driving down the cost of some of the proposals, I should say.
Thanks, Dan.
So by opening the bids again, does that mean the current bids are void?
Yes, we will reject all the current bids formally and reopen the process. And it's something we went over with our town attorney, Nate Van Wy, this morning. As a matter of fact, we spoke with him for about an hour. Ray and Jason Leifer and me and Nate went over this process, and we resolved that this was the best thing to do.
So Dan, I also remember that it wasn't just the lowest bidder that didn't have a complete application. Wasn't the second lowest bidder also rejected?
I think the second lowest was Economy. They may have turned around, the other company may have turned around and challenged Economy as well. But they can fix, I'm sure that bid can fix what they did wrong.
Okay, the reason I say it, because often people would say, well, if the lowest bidder isn't eligible for whatever reason, then go with the next lowest. But I thought from Ray's.
No, you're correct. Yeah, I wasn't going to get into that level of minutia, but yeah, Ray indicated that the second, we can't just defer to the second bid because they weren't adequate either.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But Dan, does this mean that the likelihood of getting a bid in at that the dollar value that we're hoping for is like not possible?
You know, I hate to say that, but yeah, I think that low bid probably came in low for a reason because they did not do their due diligence. And that's what, when you have a bid that's significantly lower, the other bidders look at that and comb through it and try and find faults with it. So that may be, but they've also shown that this is a price point that we're interested in as well. So I don't know, how this works in terms of the next time around. The other companies probably know to be competitive, they have to at least meet what the second bid was or close to it if the second bid was easy to correct. Or if somebody wants to, from the outside, said, "Oh, that's what they're going for. I can come in lower than that," and a company that might not have bid and could bid. I mean, I guess there are all sorts of ways to game this out. And another thing we know just from past experiences is that timing matters a lot in terms of what's on a docket for any given contractor at a point in the calendar year. So some companies that may have had too much to do last month might be freed up to take on a new project a month later in their cycle. So that could benefit us. There are a lot of variables, I guess, when it comes down to this process.
Dan, is the dollar amount of each bid public information to each of the other bidders?
Yeah, because they were open in front of each other. Alice, you were there, right?
Okay. Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had no bids at all at noon. The bidding was due at 2 and 4 companies brought them in right at the moment and then stayed to see the opening.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Because they want to see, I guess.
Yeah. Other questions for Dan about this? Not the best of news, but good possibilities for moving along, even though we've had a bit of a setback.
Could save us from, I mean, if this hadn't happened and we'd gone ahead with someone who wasn't really capable, then we would have really been in trouble. So we can see it as a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought that we would have an internal to.
I just one. I have to think these companies just made a mistake, a hiccup. I mean, the first company is out of Endwell, and they seem like a legit firm. I looked them up, and I have to think they just made a mistake and can repackage their product and resubmit. Yeah. And same with Economy Paving over in Cortland, the local company.
Yeah,
there's a company that did the Stewart Avenue Bridge and Stewart, no, the one that goes right by the architecture school, the big bridge, Fall Creek. Todd, what's that bridge? Thurston Avenue Bridge. Yeah. That was the Economy Paving.
Okay. That's great. Well, it's good to know that it's possible to repackage it. And I'm also appreciating that we had engineers to help us do that analysis. Yeah. At first we thought we were going to need to bring in some bridge experts to review the bids, and it's becoming clear that it's wonderful that we had engineers, experts to kind of review that and make sure that we have qualified folks doing it. So to be continued. We'll be talking more at project management about the timing for the pre-bid meeting and the bid opening, I guess. Or did you set dates for those, Dan? Already?
No, we'll do that, I think, on Thursday.
On Thursday. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. And yeah, more to come on this topic. Thanks, everyone. I got to jump off.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
You bet.
Good luck with that second screen. All right, let's go back to the April minutes. Do I have a motion for, let's see, any corrections?
I got rechristened.
What?
I got rechristened dashboard. instead of Ashdown.
Oh, and that is me too, because I was operating on automatic pilot.
Get me nice minutes. What's that?
Yeah, that spinning wheel company, Ashford.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't there? Okay.
That, let me just, this is
Really,
my.
really nice spinning wheels. Good job.
Yeah, there you go. You have a hyphen, and you have a hyphen that got left out.
And then just a small thing, the quarter mile marker is absent at the beginning of the trail, but the half mile marker is.
It is
still
there,
yeah.
okay, all right.
And the welcome signs are missing both from the road there.
Stevenson.
But it's also missing from Pleasant Hill.
Oh, from Mount
Mount
Pleasant.
Pleasant, sorry, Mount
Mount
Pleasant.
Pleasant, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So there are two of them missing.
okay. Okay. And Rose, I'll do those changes. Since you were not present at the meeting and those minutes were mine. Okay, with those, any other corrections or edits to the minutes? Well, with those changes to be made, do I hear a motion to approve? Rose?
I'll second.
Susan, thank you. All in favor of approving the April minutes as edited, please raise your hand. Good, okay.
I'll
Thank you.
abstain because I wasn't there, so.
Okay. Good. Welcome back, thanks.
Oh, in that case, actually,
Oh, I put.
strike Todd.
Your name fell off when you said that. That's when things.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Who's got the
Yeah.
names right? That's like basic 101. but-
There we go.
Thank you. There was a lot going on in the last meeting.
Yeah.
too.
Busy.
Okay, so we have some good news to report about the NYSEG section washout repair. Todd, do you want to start? And I'm going to share also some pictures and some other stuff.
So I know that Charlie and the students presented on the NYSEG washout project. And the students finished the design, they handed it in, and it's pretty darn good, so that was great. Charlie has tapped a former student who's a licensed engineer who will formally review and tweak if needed the designs and then put his engineered stamp on it. So we have a very official document that then can be handed off to DPW, and everybody can feel satisfied that it is meeting the engineering requirements for being able to hold the weight of vehicles on it and will persist for decades, hopefully. And so we have a draft of it. I shared that with Rick to get feedback from him because we want to make sure that there's not any glaring issues with being able to be comfortable with that. And I'll follow up with him. Alice and I have a meeting on the county grant by the FH Fox Bridge with Rick next week, so I'll chat with him about it then. So that should get us a clear design, and then the students, with some additional help from Charlie, there's cost numbers in it. Once it's totally finalized, we can look at those, talk with Rick about what the town is willing to donate, what Charlie has already spent, what he intends to spend from existing funds that he has, and see what the difference is, that then we can come up with a final number to then approach the Triad Foundation to help fund the remaining work. And one of the things that I thought that we would do is have the scope for the bridge and the bridge surfacing as one number and have the trail from Pinckney to the bridge and from the bridge to Leonardo be it separate numbers. And that way we can see what they are combined, ask Triad for the full amount. But if they come back with a lower amount, still know what amount of bridge that buys us and what amount of trail that buys us. So that's where that plan stands. And I've also been working with Charlie. He's great. He jumped right in and started to populate the application for DEC to send to them for a permit for wetlands there, wetlands impacts. And it's pretty complete. I sent it to Ray just to make sure that everything is accurate if he wants to add anything. And we need a map as well. So once that gets finalized, then we can send that into DEC. Now, we're fairly confident that there will be zero wetland impacts, but DEC changed their regulations this year. And they now, in their regulations, have restriction for the wetlands, but also 100 feet beyond all the wetlands, which is huge, a huge change. And there's already lawsuits about it. So who knows about how it all kind of shakes out in the end. The logic with that is that, 5 feet away from a wetland, if you do a bunch of disturbance and erosion, whatever, it's going to end up in the wetland. But on the other hand, it adds a whole lot of jurisdictional authority for some things that in the past didn't require permitting, like what it is that we're proposing to do. So the thought is that we would apply for a permit anyway. It would include all the things that we're planning to do. Our project is limited to working with heavy equipment from just the existing rail bed. So there won't be any wetland impacts from that. Whatever earth is moved, we'll have erosion control around the perimeter of it, and we'll put in vegetative cover crops and restore the site. So there really should be zero impact to the wetland from the work. And so we'll put in for that, and they have some ungodly amount of time to respond.
It's like 90 days,
Yeah,
if I'm remembering correctly.
Right, so, the thought is that we might, whatever, it's 90 days and it's a nothing burger and we just proceed and they agree that a permit isn't required, or they issue just a permit, or they want to meet and, review all the minutia and go from there. So we'll just follow the process through to see where that lands. And some of this relates to the storage unit, but we can probably skip that for now.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to mention the storage unit.
Okay.
I
can pass the baton off.
Okay, good. Actually, before I do the storage unit, I want to just share a couple of things about the work of the students. This is a picture of the students on the day that they made the forms for the foundation that will be installed next year. And I went to hear their presentation. They have since sent us a 40-some page report, and they detailed each section of the report in their presentation to the professor. And I think they just really pulled it together. It sounds like the students were a little bit confused about what the parameters were at the beginning, and then they really came together in little subcommittees, each that worked on different things, from design of the foundation to the loads of the steel that will go on the bridge, to controlling silt and erosion of the area around where they are going to be working. So I was so impressed. Talking with Charlie, I thought, let's send Charlie and the students a thank you note. So I have one here. It's on town letterhead, and I'm going to just pass it around for everybody to sign, and then we can forward it to Charlie. The students thought of, there was a communication person, it was Max, who came in and talked with us, and together the students realized that they should supply us with their next email addresses, because they'll lose their Cornell addresses when they all graduate. And unlike with Design Connect, where we lost contact with all the students that did that study for us, we now will have all the emails of these students. And students, Max, in fact, was saying, well, I'm going to be around next year and I want to be able to help. So the letter says, we're writing to express our huge appreciation for the work you did this past semester on the design and construction of the bridge to replace the washout at the NYSEC section of the Dryden Rail Trail off Pygmy Road. Your detailed final report gives us the details and blueprint we need to finish the bridge construction in 2026. And it shows the teamwork you developed to put it all together. We appreciate the hours you spent building the forms and cutting rods for the foundation. As you've heard, it's taken a decade to build the Dryden Rail Trail to the current point. With your help, we expect to be able to open another trail section soon. We hope you will, if you return to Ithaca in the future, you'll come take a walk across the bridge, view the wildlife in the beautiful wetland area, and remember our gratitude for your contribution.
Oh, very nice. I read that whole report and I was astonished. I thought it was wonderful. I didn't go through the mathematics, but
Yeah, we really scored, and thank you, Todd, for connecting us with Charlie for this, because these students are contributing their own expertise. There was a $15,000 material budget from the class that is going towards our project, and they really have provided us details right down to where to buy materials.
yeah, I couldn't believe
Pretty
it.
cool.
I couldn't believe how cheap it came in, to be honest.
Maybe they should work on the bridge over.
Let's hire Charlie's class to build the Route 13 bridge. So one more piece of good news about that washout project. Some people may remember that the property that is on one side of the trail up to where the washout is owned by a storage company. Two fellows that graduated from Cornell own that property, and they started off small here and now have dozens of storage units at college campuses all over the place. And they built a fence right up to the edge of the trail, about 5 feet or so from the center line of their property, right into the easement. The utility easement that the town holds. Now, they never agreed to provide a rail trail easement, but the town's utility easement precludes them from putting anything in the way of town crews being able to maintain 33 feet back from the center line. So I think I mentioned last time we were together that my son-in-law graduated with these young men. And I've been able to make contact with one of the co-owners who ran track with him. And on just this past week, he said, we sent him lots of details about how they went 80 feet from what they were approved to build for the fence. And we just heard from them last week that they will, they acknowledge that they built in the utility easement and they will send a proposal to rectify it. Now, our main goal has really been to get them, the fence moved back, but we also would really like the easement from them. So we're looking forward to hearing if they are in fact gonna grant us the easement there. But at the very least, I think we have in writing that they acknowledge that the fence is in the wrong place. We needed to move. So any questions about that?
Well, I'll just point out that the path right on top of the center line is already cleared and accessible. You can drive a truck all the way to the washout right now if you want to. And we were able to find some of the pins that were on the property. So we, even though we don't have a survey, we know fairly well where the center line is, and it's really right in the middle of the path. So we have the easement on Swan's property to the north. So if we don't get it, what that means is that we have to clear a whole tree line that's on that side of, 100-something mature trees. And level it and grade it and put subsurface trail material and the trail. It makes it extraordinarily more expensive and also counterproductive to what the experience is that we want people to have. So that's kind of part of the reason that we're really negotiating with this, with these owners, is because there's a lot at stake with it going one way or the other.
And was there an ask about an easement as a part of this negotiation?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to hear back. I didn't understand that was
Yeah.
included as part of the.
I found in Bob's files the last letter that he wrote asking the last iteration of the proposed agreement, and it was like 2 weeks before he passed and dated in his file. So I noted that and sent it to Dan Happert, the co-owner. And we also sent him the site plan, a copy of the site plan that shows what they were approved for and the 80 feet past that they went. So it was, we really documented that they were in the wrong, and we really want to work with you. One of the things that I understood when I went out to the site is that they might have come so far because it's very hilly, their property, and they wanted to do a fence that would protect their property, and in certain places there's a divot, the fence wouldn't be that high, a 5-foot fence would dip, and so I said, we can work with you to try to find a way to get you a straight fence that will really protect your property, but it can't be on the utility. And at first we thought, well, maybe we don't need the full 33 feet to build the, to get the equipment in there to build the trail. But on talking with Rick Young and actually Gwen recently, there's a strong recommendation that we keep the full 33 feet easement, because we don't know, like we didn't know when the easement was made that Dryden Farber would come in needing that space. So we don't want to give away. Rick feels very strongly that he doesn't want to give away any of the 33 feet. So if they'll just move it back that far, they still will be further back than they were approved in their site plan back in 2023. So hopefully we'll have a proposal from them that includes giving us the easement and moving the fence.
Great.
Any other comments or questions on that? Okay, good. Thank you, everybody, for signing that thank you note. So let's move to Outreach and Communication Committee and Diane.
So we skipped phase 3 planning, Erdman Anthony, under Project Management Committee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Let's go back to Project Management Committee. And let's see, the bids in Next Sense, next steps we went to, but the Urban Anthony study. Do you want to talk about that, Todd, or shall I?
Why don't you?
Okay, good. We, as you may recall, we got a grant from the county to consider alternatives, ways to finish phase 3, which is Pinckney Road to Johnson Road. And we are in the process of trying to organize a kickoff meeting with Urban Anthony to talk about the scope of work and so on. And as always, the scheduling is an issue. I started to do a doodle poll for all the people, and I found out I didn't have access to enough slots to actually get that organized. So I wrote and asked for help, but I haven't heard back from anybody about how to. If anybody has access to a polling application.
Could we do one poll that just narrows it down to a couple of dates and then do a second poll to narrow it down to times within those dates?
Oh, that's a way to do it.
Every
Okay,
day is different from, my calendar is not good on a date. I can't just be like, oh, whatever this day.
No.
I'm sorry. It's
Todd, if you send me your availability, I could start with that.
That sounds like that might be
Okay.
good, because.
Let's
Okay,
do
I
that,
can
to
try that.
schedule that. Yeah, we tried to get it for when the project management team normally meets, but it doesn't work for everybody, so, well, that.
And we'll have to do this, not just for that meeting, but like every meeting that we have with Urban Anthony. But, that's what that kickoff meeting is for, so we can figure those kinds of things.
Yeah,
out.
so we can get a schedule of regular talk, but as folks may recall, they agreed for $10,000, which is what we had for the grant, to provide us with 3 alternatives, including staying on the trail and possibly working around properties where we don't have easements. In the other 2, the alternatives, so.
And the relative costs.
And the costs.
Well,
Yeah,
not a detailed cost, but a relative costs for each of the alternatives to help us with understanding that important part. And the ultimate goal is to line us up with knowing what amount of funding is needed, so we can secure the easements and position ourselves to apply for, in theory, our final large grant, which is the Transportation Alternatives Grant, which is the one that we got for the bridge, to be complete the trail grant.
good. Yeah, any questions about that? Final phase study? Good, okay, thank you for spotting. Anybody who notices I missed something, please let me know. Now let's go to outreach and communication, and Diane.
So I got quotes back from 2 companies, Dataflow, which is now ThinkPrint Binghamton, and then I also wrote to the print shop, the Cornell print shop, and interesting, the print shop looks the least expensive. Let me share my screen to make it look simpler. Send request. So, there. Okay, so the welcome signs for Cornell Print Shop were $16 each, and the etiquette signs were $13 each, which compared to the Think Group You can see that. Their unit price was, $33 each and $30 each, so,
Double.
yeah, and it's both,
Easy decision.
this is laminate mat one side.
Hmm.
ATM white 3mm, where this was dye bond and 3mm dye bond. That's what the current signs are. Now, you had said something, Todd, about them breaking, but we haven't had troubles with our too many. I don't think we've had
Well,
troubles
from
with-
vandalism.
Yeah, vandalism, yeah. The one on,
real vandalism.
well, the one on, the first one we lost on Stevenson was probably a car hitting it.
Oh,
Yeah. Someone went down into that ditch and took that sign out and it was broken.
So, I mean, I don't know what other substrate
Yeah,
would
I
be.
don't think we can make a move. I think it's fine.
A solid car, right?
A car that will destroy the car.
I like the Cornell sign.
But I mean,
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
No,
But I mean, every sign, you can have aluminum signs and they'll just
Yeah,
bend them into.
exactly.
so.
yeah. So then what I wanted to show people, well, I guess we'll do it this way. I had done these signs. Remember to clean them up to your dog, bicycles yield to pedestrians, keep right except to pass. Everyone yield to horses. Pass slowly, come on, left. Remember to carry your trash. Expect your neighbors to stay on the trail. But then I was wondering if maybe the font was too small, so I tried a different layout. And I'm kind
Right.
of curious what people are seeing, but I think this one, it's taking up more of the sign, but maybe you're gonna see it better.
Yes,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think like with the mounting, like when I did the mock-ups, I think those ones will be better because you're leaving the top and the bottom open where the bolt holes are gonna be.
Right, the other thing is like, okay, the logo's smaller, but I don't think it's as important at this
No,
point.
it's on the
You know
trail
you're on the
already.
trail.
Right.
And then the ones that can have a little bit of a graphic,
That's fine.
I've added it there, but a lot of them don't really have a graphic,
Yeah,
stay on the trail.
yeah.
So if people are happy with these signs, that there aren't any more that we need, I could put in an order for, and then how many?
That's great.
I think that's.
How many?
Like 2 sets?
So one set on
uh,
the side, one set on the barn
I
side.
mean, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 signs, so how frequently do we want to put them and where do we want to put them?
Well, I know that one of the places where the complaints have been coming in is on the Shug section, which is not really, strictly speaking, part of our mandate,
Yeah.
since it was already built and we are taking it from there. But I do think because it has become part of the trail that I would vote for at least one set for there. So I'd like to hear from others about where else they
Yeah, we're
need to
only
be.
we're mounting them on the existing,
Yeah, probably on the back side of the.
Mile markers.
Mile
So
markers.
so it'll only be one directional at this point. So that's all we need is for one direction.
So,
Maybe 3 sets. Shug, the Dryden, Freeville and Varna.
but do we want them on both sides? So that would be,
Well, we don't have a place to mount on both sides. Oh, you mean on both sides of the,
oh, you're right,
yeah,
you're right.
yeah. I think we just want one side for now.
Okay.
So 3 sets.
3
That
sets.
sounds good.
Good. I just want to confirm when we're thinking about, this is just reminding me that talking about pricing them out, that we do have more than $6,000
Yeah,
in the donations
Write another
fund.
$200 check for the trail, so.
Yay.
This was
From your
pretty successful
sale.
from-
Oh, that's
it's
great.
pretty successful, yeah.
And some of us were a little bit concerned because we didn't see some donations that we knew had been made on the list. So I met with Amanda Anderson, our finance director today, and it turns out that the donations for benches that I thought should have been on the list, she actually was using to claim against the New York State Parks grant, like the donations for arts and memorial. So so I went over the list with her and it is correct. And it does total more than $6,000. And she and our finance manager is expecting that we'll be sending some bills for signs for
Okay.
those. So
Um,
To that account.
To that account,
Okay.
yeah, she's got them very clearly delineated and she will deduct the,
Well, I mean, I mentioned that, not to conflate things, but the Shug section and the game farm section are still in the state parks grant. So. And we don't, that was a question at our finance committee meeting 2 weeks ago was where do things
well, let me
stand?
let me just say what I learned
Okay.
from that meeting also. She actually sent apologies because when I asked her to look at where things were, she said there was one more question that Amanda Marsh from New York State Parks had asked her, and
Always one more.
she became very busy with broadband, some broadband responsibilities. So she knows exactly what she needs to answer. And she believes that after that answer comes in,
How many times have we heard
Albany
that?
will finally be ready. Always one more question. But she did say that a few weeks went by from the point where she received the question, got swamped, but she said now things have cleared, and so she's really ready. She was already on her mind to go and track down the rail trail stuff. So good point. We might want to claim. Are you saying then that we might want to claim the cost of the signage against the
Yes.
EDF grant?
Yes, if we
before-
use our donations
Mhm.
for purchasing the signs,
That's a good match.
then it's match for the state parks grant.
Okay, all
Maybe we
right.
should go data flow.
No, because the reason, so just that, not to go off on too many tangents here, but the reason that we brought back up the question of where Parks Grant is, not just on its own merits and being done with it, is that we think that there should be funds remaining that we could then apply to the bridge for the Monkey Run to Route 13 trail part of the TAP grant. So, so thank you for following up with her on that, and but yes, if we use that, if we use, so it'll be important for her to split the bill so that 2/3 of it is matched for the grant, and the 1/3 that is for and actually, you know, the more simple way to do this is ask Cornell to have 2 separate purchases.
Oh,
Buy one set of signs with one invoice and buy a set of signs, two sets of signs with a separate invoice.
Okay.
And that makes it easier for Amanda when we give her the one with 2 sets on it for the grant.
okay, and so the two sets are for Dryden Freeville and Game Farm, and the set that is the town will pay for out of donations is the Game Farm. I mean,
Well, we're paying for all the signs out of
out
the
of donation.
donations.
But the town will ultimately be responsible for it, and it isn't going against
That's
the
right.
grant. But
Okay, so can I'll have to see if I can just have them invoice the town directly so that I don't have to kill my credit card and then get reimbursed.
yes, yeah. If they will do that, Amanda can handle that. That's
Okay.
great. Yeah, it's easier and a larger purchase.
So then the other thing I wanted to know is, this was a welcome sign that we all looked at.
One thing on the other signs before we jump into
Okay.
this. So have we taken one out to see where the holes are? Relative to the. Because some of those out, like the horses, I'm not sure where exactly it's gonna,
Right.
where the bolt hole is gonna land. I think the rest of them are that.
Good, so the 3-line ones could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't recall what the measurements were, because I did that.
You're going into part, right, the holes?
No, because the total diamond tip to tip was like 7 1/4, and I think they were a half an inch in from the inside of the tip of the diamond.
But I think between the holes.
Oh, on the
one inch-
uprights.
1 inch slot.
Yeah.
So I'll just double check to make sure.
Yeah, on the angle iron, they should be at 1 inch increments,
Okay, good.
but I can go verify it.
The other thing I might do is see if we can get a proof of one of them and use one of the ones that are the.
Tighter one, yeah.
The tighter one, and do we want them to drill holes? I don't think that's one thing I got quotes for, because last year I think Bob drilled all the holes.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
But you know, it'd be great if we could, so they weren't quoted with holes still.
Right.
Drills.
I'll see if they can drill holes.
Okay, I think that would be a good thing to do at this stage of the game.
Is there any issue with having the Dryden Rail Trail logo on the Shug Trail?
What about the Shug Trail?
Is there any issue with having the Dryden Rail Trail logo also on the Shug
Well,
Trail?
we remember we officially changed the name and even notified the family that it's the Jim Shug section of the Dryden
Oh, very
Rail
good.
Trail.
Fine.
And it really was fine with them because Jim Shug's dream was to extend the trail. So I think now they know. Now the family knows that. You still see it in a lot of the literature as called the Jim Shug Trail from old iterations, but I think people are starting to get it. That was the section. Yeah.
And so the other thing we worked on was the welcome sign, and this was the final design that I think got everyone's approval. So my question is, where are these going?
Well, we want to replace the ones that are missing.
We know that we need at least 2 for Stevenson and Mount Pleasant. And we don't have any in any of the sections. We don't have any from do we have one at Monkey Run?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
So
we do.
So we don't have any, we don't have any from the bridge across to Pinckney. I
Right.
think that's what.
Yes, we don't have one.
So I had done the quote for like 10 versus 20, and they were $16 each. So basically, no matter how many we want, they'll be $16 each.
Okay.
So do we get just the bare minimum that we need, or should we just say give us 10 and then we have?
We'll hopefully need them soon for extending the trail, so. I think we could go ahead and get them.
Well, I thought
Or
I thought
do we
we
not
counted-
need them many?
I thought we counted them up and then added like 2 or 3 extras. I mean, this was like months ago when we started this, but
I don't remember that, yeah. We counted out how
we
many
How many
needed.
intersections there were?
Was
going
it
to
in the
be?
neighborhood of 10? Or more?
like 13, maybe the 3 were the 3 extras or something.
So maybe is 15 reasonable? You got quotes for groups of 10.
I said 10 versus 20 identical signs, and the price came in at $16 each.
Okay. Well, maybe if we went with 20, we'll have them and.
To replace any that break, or if
we
we
have
want
to
to
replace
update
Mhm.
the existing signs.
Well, so the same scenario for the other signs applies to this. So if we're gonna do this and have it be
Oh.
relative to the grant match,
Mhm.
we'll wanna understand how many we want on the part that's in the EPF grant and the part that's not.
Well, in this case, none of these welcome signs are for non-EPF grant areas. Oh, no, yes, they are. Pinckney, we don't.
Yeah, there's nothing for between Freeville and Route 13. It's not in the grant,
Okay.
so.
So buying those now and buying extras.
Well, I think we could buy extras, I just wanna
You
be,
can't use them as a match.
I wanna. Well, we could potentially use them as a match, I mean. Bob bought some extra benches. Were used as match and they still are gonna have a home on the trail somewhere.
Yes.
that part doesn't go on the minutes. So, you know, we can put a few extra in there because they're for, you know, replacing things that are vandalized. But what I wouldn't want to do is like half the orders for the Shug section and, you know, then we're really misapplying funds.
When we talk about quantity 10 versus 20, total $16 each. What was the cost? Is that the cost for 10 or is that the cost for 20? Was there?
No, it's the cost for individual.
Because they didn't
Right.
give us two quotes, it was the same.
It's $16.
Okay, there
Well,
was no,
get 10 or they
120 is
get
not a
20.
quantity,
Okay.
you know,
Right.
bulk quantity to drop.
There's no
the price.
discount.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. So we're gonna have to talk a little bit about where they're going, where those welcome signs are going and how they get built.
But I think I can go ahead and order the etiquette signs at least, then we can start working on getting those up, because that's a.
Okay.
Where were these gonna be mounted? It's been a while since I've been thinking about this, so I don't.
The etiquette signs or?
No, the,
Welcome signs.
yes.
Well, like Susan said, to replace some that were broken.
There's no hole there anymore.
So there's a stop sign on one side,
think there might be a
and a
pole
welcome
on
sign
that
on the
plaza.
other. That's how it goes.
Yes.
Stop sign,
Yeah.
welcome sign, yeah.
Right, but we don't necessarily, I mean, we've been talking about signs. Not all the sites have posts.
That's right, yeah.
So that's what I was asking, is like. Exactly, you know, I think it might be helpful to just like map it all out. And.
Because the other.
Mark up a map and know what's here, what needs to be replaced.
What keeps getting hit.
What's existing that can, you know, we just put a sign on the back of a post there versus. You know, doing. Sections that don't have any signage at all.
And if there are sections that require a new mounting posts, is Rick Young the one who is responsible for deciding where it can and cannot go, or do we need to do it, I think, say, New York, you know?
He's been the one that's installed all of those, and so that would be the same thing. I would just talk with him and be like, you know, do you have view posts that these can go on? If not, we can use the account again to buy some miscellaneous things.
And do we need some more stop signs to go on?
But I also think it would be helpful to give Rick a map that shows what signs go where, what ones get retrofitted, and that would be very helpful and appreciated.
Diane, do you have time to do that? I'm just wondering, it's a Chip, since you're on the trail so frequently, is that something you could have?
Yeah, I mean, I can go back and even review all the photos that I took in, you know, February or whatever, because I'm pretty sure I have all the trail entrances and all the mile markers as I went along. I mean, whatever's changed since February, you know, but yeah, I can ride it again, walk it again, and you know, recollect information.
And do you have Diane's contact information to?
Yeah, I think so. And if not, we met the other day, so I have Chris's
Yeah.
phone number
That would
information.
be tremendously helpful.
Yeah.
And I say map, but it could just be like this intersection, this trailhead.
Yeah.
It could be.
I mean, I can collect the information. I can put together a Google map too and share the link.
I know that, I don't want to necessarily rehash this, because I know we talked about the mile marker diamonds, that some of them were bending and flexing and things like that.
Yeah.
That likely may have been, you know, UV related or sun related, that's, you know, causing them to do some weird things, but it might be useful to know sort of like which ones are being most affected, and if we're gonna replace them with the same material, it may not, they're designed to be at that spot. So
Yeah.
if there are ones that are repeatedly, you know, doing some weird bending from sun exposure or whatever, we may need to switch out that material.
Right. Yeah, the ones that I came across that were bent were mangled bent, like maybe they got hit with a rotting lawnmower kind of thing, or a car, or you know, that type of. Yeah, I don't like. It was the winter, and I didn't try to bend any back for fear that they would be brittle in the temperature. So, and I haven't gone back to like relocate them and say, can I bend this back or put it in some vice grips?
Is are there some along the Jim Shug section
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought. And I
Yeah.
thought that's where I'd seen some that were bent on both sides.
Yeah, they have like rounded
Yeah,
corners where
yeah.
like they potentially got with a lawnmower kind
Okay,
of. Yeah, because it starts at 0 at Purvis Road and then it comes back
okay.
towards Freeville and then it does the opposite numbering the other side. So somewhere in the middle, when the trail is complete, we're gonna have some awkward numbering, but
Okay, good.
If you send me that information, I'll put it onto the master map that I've made with all the benches and everything.
sure,
So
sure.
we can then have a master thing of where all the signs are and where everything is.
That's okay. Yeah.
Tony, thank you. That map of yours helps us so much. That's great. More data to add to it. Good. Thank you for that work and thank you for being willing to work on. Good. Let's hear from the, any final questions about that?
Oh, with the second status of removed signs at Stevenson Road, I think you answered that, right?
I think that we addressed that, yeah, and added Mount Pleasant to the spot. Good.
No, I was going
well, someone was gonna talk to, the game farm people
Stewards.
about
We
that.
did not go for, I did not follow up on that. It's on my list.
Yeah.
I did not.
Just because that sign is disappeared twice, so.
Well, the way that we were gonna do it was first review the memorandum of understanding that we have with them to just understand how that works before we contacted Evan and Dan and I didn't connect to do that.
What happened? I missed that.
Oh, a mile marker sign and a welcome sign were missing, and there was some speculation that maybe it could possibly have been some folks from DC Game Farm that removed those if we, for some reason, so we thought.
Particularly the welcome sign, which is on their, near their place there.
On their
Yeah.
property.
Yeah, on their property. I
And
mean,
it's
it's all
just
on their
fine.
property, but yeah.
Did you reach out to them or?
No.
We were gonna review, Dan and I were gonna meet to review the memorandum of understanding before we did the outreach, and he and I didn't connect to them.
You could also at the same time ask the question of the information kiosk at that location. We need to
Yes,
finalize with them. We've talked about it before, but.
but there also is a possibility that the sign was taken out for some, by some other, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
We just, we're gonna ask.
Yeah.
Good.
But having a kiosk to ask about would make a nice lead in for that. Using them of cars highway.
Yeah, I have to have my memory refreshed about what possibilities we talked about on that spot for the kiosk, but we will
Yeah,
want to get
yeah,
back to that
yeah,
at some
yeah.
point.
I think that's where we left it, that we needed to talk to them, because the last time
To
we talked
find
to
out.
them, they wanted to do their own and and we need to make sure that,
Okay, that's a good,
Same.
thank you. Yeah, that's a good one to add to the, start with where could we locate the kiosk? And by the way, do you know anything about those? Okay, good. Thank you. Anything else on outreach and communication? Great, let's go to trail stewards.
Diane's gonna pull up a mock-up.
Beautiful. Can you magnify the exciting tasks that we, last time we just saw exciting task number 1, number 2, and now we actually see them.
Go bigger.
What do you do?
Window is not as big as it can be. I'm just, I mean, it's square and it's about as tall as it can be on my computer. So if we want it bigger to see, we're not gonna be able to
This
see
is
it.
good, this is
Read it.
good, I just wanted to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And go back out and see the whole design.
nice.
So we took the basic information from the document that we prepared from our February meeting. And sort of put up the main points.
It's great. It's got a
It is.
great positive tone.
The only question I brought up was,
Mhm.
benefits, sense of place, I thought maybe we need to be a little more specific by what we mean about that, like gain a sense of place or develop a sense of place or, you know.
Sure.
I guess the idea being that
verb.
if you're a steward, you'll feel more ownership of the trail, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
To me, sense of place didn't get that across, but if it does to everyone else, I'll drop my
Verbs are
comment.
nice.
But the verbs are good, aren't they? Good,
Now that you mentioned it,
Yeah.
yeah, it needs.
So what? Gain, develop,
Like gain.
gain,
Gain a sense of
place.
place.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Or, you know, in a way, gain implies that you didn't have one before, so maybe it's
I was thinking maybe strengthen,
strengthen your sense,
Strengthen.
strengthen sense of place.
enhance.
I'm gonna
Enhance.
stop sharing here and I'm gonna start sharing somewhere else. So. This is Canva. I mentioned Canva the last time, right?
So the benefit that we had listed originally was having a sense of place and connection with with other trail lovers.
Having a sense of place. Enhancing sense of place.
Benefit, the benefit being that you're having a sense of place. Does that sound okay? Go with a different.
Having, sharing,
The
being.
amendment of enhances.
Enhance your-
Enhance your-
As soon as you're on it. And yeah, or having, but enhance means that if you're steward,
Yeah, you're growing it.
you take another step there, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
good. So if there aren't other changes, we're ready to post this on the listserv and Facebook page and you and some of us are recipients of emails from
Yeah.
folks that might be interested in this. Does this have the?
One thing that if you
Yes,
know
there is.
nothing about the trail and you saw this, you may have no idea what a section means. I'm wondering if we should put in there something, the section, that it is divided into 10 sections
Well,
or something.
So the idea is that this is a attention grabbing picture.
No, I understand
And
that.
that associated with this, so in the email, for example, to the Dryden Rail Trail.
We'll do a cover
email
letter.
Google group, there will be a little bit more
No, I
information.
understand that, but I'm thinking someone cold turkey seeing this.
On Facebook, say.
Well, there will be, we'll follow up with in a following comment, we'll share. My thought is that we'll share like a PDF or something that has more information in it. And I would think that somebody who's coming in cold turkey, reach out to us.
Yeah.
What does this mean? Tell us more.
And that might address Tony's thought, is rather
Yeah.
than saying regularly or bike your section of trail, why not regularly walk or bike a short section of trail?
Oh, good.
That would work.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
A short
okay.
section of trail,
All right,
yeah.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then,
Does
you
that-
know,
But
Could
then
you
still
also-
is like, well, which section?
Yeah.
but we don't know.
Right.
That'll be up to the side.
Right.
But that, you think that gets it across, Tony?
We kept it, can you bring it up?
No, I heard it, but I don't know where it went. Oh, wait.
Could you also say one of
I'm
10?
trying to think of someone who.
I think it's enough to get people.
Okay.
Because this was, that was actually in the details.
Was it this?
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Thank you.
all that. It's just that, what we're trying to do is to encourage people
Yeah.
and to put enough information up there that they think it might be something nice to do,
Right.
and not be afraid.
Right.
If they're thinking they're doing the whole trail or something.
Right.
That's why
That's what that's
short.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short.
Glenn was trying to share something.
Well, I was just gonna say, you could also, to address what Tony said, you could say one of 10 sections of the trail. Then they would know. I don't know if that's too much, but regularly walk or bike one of 10 sections of the trail. That would let people know.
The problem
But that
there,
may be too long.
It also implies a knowledge of the trail already, and we're looking for the people that have no knowledge of trail.
And what if we get 20 people interested? Maybe we break it up into shorter sections.
Pair people.
Or pair people.
Yeah.
Share.
We get 2 people interested, now it might become 7 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great if we had more people interested in that. Yeah.
I want to talk them all though.
I like the idea of having the follow-up information. I'm glad that we added the short section of the trail. Good, okay. So I'll follow up with you about the cover letter and do you guys in committee want to create a cover that make a cover statement that should be included in the rollout of these?
Yeah, it's already essentially drafted. Just need to
Oh, good.
polish it. I mean, it's taking this information and just clean it up a little bit. It's
Great.
not going to be part of a meeting that we had, but it itemizes responsibilities of stewards, details, benefits. We do discuss terms, and then we get into trail sections.
Yes, okay, good.
We wordsmith that a couple of times.
Yep.
It's a great idea.
Thanks for all the work that's gone into this. This is many months in the creating, and we're.
But it's hitting at just the right time. Yeah,
Yes, I think so too.
Everyone's getting into their summer in the winter. Yeah, right. Just survive.
Except for Chip. Good. Okay. Thank you. That's great work. Community events is the next topic. And I just wanted to mention that I did reserve a place for our booth and for the first time for the Dryden Rail Trail to be part of the parade. And we got accepted to be in the parade. And so Susan, do you want to tell your idea?
Well, my idea was to use the train and maybe some of us in the beginning cars, but maybe see if we can get some kids for the later cars, especially the boost car. I think it's too small for any of us. We have an engine and 2 or 3 box cars and a caboose, I think. And my idea, and Sue said she'd help me out with this because I'm a little crippled now, so I can't do it the way I envisioned, is to do another car and have it be, I was thinking a cattle car, but maybe what we want is a milk can car to honor the milk run that was run out of Freeville, New York City and New Jersey all the time. So a milk can car, I think, to add to our train. So that was my thought.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
So we have the railroad caps.
Yeah, the conductor
And
cap.
all members of the task force are invited to march in the parades, wearing a rail trail cap and carrying along it's just a great visual, I think.
It's cool. It's been very useful to us several times, I think.
Yeah.
We do need to check the cars and see what shape they're in and how many there are.
Where are they?
So I think Gwen, do you have the cars?
Yeah, they're in the shop.
I thought so. How are they looking?
Oh, it's nice and dry and humid. The humidity is under control, so they should be just fine.
Okay, good.
This is Saturday, June 14th.
Correct.
Yeah, and we need, the problem is that the parade happens at the same time as the booths are at least setting up, if not actually active. So we need a fair number of people right at the beginning.
Yes.
And then we can go with that.
Yeah, so I think that I will create, rather than doing it here, I will create a spreadsheet in the next day or two for people to sign up for times when they could come. This is the first time in my memory that the Dairy Day does not conflict with Dryden, with Cornell Reunion. So that's good.
It does have a conflict though, which I'm going to.
Yeah.
And that is the No King's Day, which should be the biggest demonstration in the country against the current administration.
But that's not.
That is at 1 o'clock.
That's at 1 o'clock.
So, well, I'm just saying that we
Yeah.
can do both.
What time? What are the times?
I think you can begin setting up at 8 and people assemble for the parade. I'm just saying this from memory, so I'll put it all in email tomorrow. But I think people begin assembling for the parade at 8:30 and it leaves at 9:30 from past the Empire Livestock Pavilion on 292.
And it's pretty short, but.
Yeah.
9 or 9:30.
I'm pretty
9:30.
sure, I believe it's at 9:30.
And
It's
then
9:30.
the parade lasts.
Half an hour,
Yeah, it's pretty
45
short.
minutes, and then folks come from the parade to the booths, and the booths are open roughly 10 till 3. And they
Where are
say that you have to stay there till
Where are the booths? Are they at the livestock or?
they're at, the booths are at Montgomery Park.
Oh,
So so we're walking over to there and,
Can I do a display of stained glass sign? Can I do a display of stained glass sign?
yes, yeah, we paid for a vendor booth,
Okay,
so
very good.
we
Yeah.
can, we couldn't do that at the earlier event because they weren't about vendors, but Dairy Day is, so, yeah, good.
Not that it's that big, but it does also overlap with the Ithaca Hikers Founders Day, so there's multiple hiking groups in the area that are gathering and doing multiple hikes in the Abbott Loop area. So I'm volunteered to help lead that.
So that's on the 14th.
It's on the
On the
14th.
14th also,
Okay.
yeah.
So there will be a lot of
Popular,
hikers.
it's a popular day. It
Yeah.
is the Ellis Hollow Community Fairs
Mhm.
annual meeting and chicken barbecue that I organize. And then there's music in the evening.
In the hollow, yeah.
And a dish to pass, so
Yeah.
it's the
Big event.
kickoff to the Music in the Hollow as well, so, yeah. I was unhappy because I wanted to.
This is what
Yeah.
happens when you have nasty weather for half the year. We have everything in.
Well, the key thing will be just getting a few of us to
Yeah.
march, from like 8:30 to 10. That's a commitment.
Yeah,
And-
where does it start? How long is the parade? How many miles?
Yeah, distance.
Oh, well, it starts at the Livestock Pavilion and it goes to Montgomery Park. So,
Where's the livestock pavilion?
oh,
Right here.
it's
pass
next
it
to
on the way.
DPW highway garage.
It's a short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I'll be able to walk in.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking Cornell Livestock Pavilion. Five miles.
Which isn't gonna be a livestock pavilion, much
Oh,
longer,
really?
Really?
What's it gonna do?
Oh,
being renovated for some.
The
of
offices?
I think so, or not,
Just training.
huh. Well, it's a short walk and it'll be fun to do that. I'll be there
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
like
And I'll send a sign up sheet for both marching in the parade in that early morning and also
Need some kind of signage or something,
It's gonna be the train itself.
the train, I think.
but I mean, should
We
each
could-
person
the
carry a,
gorgeous- we should-
signs or
A
something?
couple of people carrying the gorgeous banner as well, if
Yeah,
we have
good.
enough.
Yeah, if we have enough, but it's pretty much handling the car itself as much as you wanna do. You
Yeah.
don't wanna kill yourself.
Also, there's a sort of band commentator who is at the Dryden Hotel. And in order to be accepted, you had to write the 100-word or less blurb that the commentator will say. And I wish I'd thought of the milk train.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't,
That's a good-
but I wanted to get it in there. I heard from another group that they applied and they were too late, so I was glad that we got our
That's okay, we'll do that next year.
application.
We'll do
in
the
there.
milk train next year.
Now, maybe they would accept an edit to add the milk train. Anyway, Dryden Dairy Day, tomorrow I'll send out a sign up list and it will happen. We'll be in the
Can you
parade.
count the cars too, so we know?
Please. Please, good weather for this, for all the things that are going on that day. Good. Let's see, donations I had put, I added to the agenda that I sent out to everybody, just a note about donations, but we've talked about the part that I wanted to talk about, which was that the amount that we do have in donations. I just shot it into Diane's report. Thank you for letting me do that. And Judy, do you have anything more to report about somebody helping look for donations for the?
Yeah, as I said last time, Bike Walk Tompkins will get back to us at the end of the year or the beginning of next. Probably interested in being a hub for our donations. So whatever we plan to do now is, I would say, is interim. So I don't know if you saw it yet, but I sent you some text a little before the meeting via email, which might be some, it's just sort of, well, just to back up a little bit, I did talk to Linda Levine, who is very eager to talk up donations to the rail trail at Kendall, where she has a lot of friends and a lot of other friends where, and she's very interested in the trail. And she and I are going out, I hope Friday, to site the benches for her husband, Buzz. But yeah, she will talk it up, but I didn't ask her specifically to be a point person for people to go to for guidance on donations or to, because she wouldn't be receiving them. I thought I'd just sort of suggest some text to you guys first before we decide who it should be directed to. So I can read it to you. I might be able to share, but I don't know. I'm having trouble with my computer. I would have to share it on my phone. Let me just read it to you, and then I could try sharing a photograph if you want me to. This is the possible text, and I did send it to you, Alice. Memorial benches on the Dryden Rail Trail. That's sort of title. Along the Dryden Rail Trail, you will come across benches placed in scenic spots where you can sit to enjoy the view. These benches have been kindly donated in memory of family or friends who loved the Dryden Rail Trail and its natural beauty. If you would like to donate a bench in memory or in honor of someone you love, please contact parentheses for details on how to set up such a donation. Then that's it. And so I said, now the question is whether this wording would be considered fundraising or soliciting funds, which we are not allowed to do as Rail Trail Task Force members, or would it be just information on proper procedure? And taking that into consideration, who could be the contact person? I mean, ultimately, Kathy Burns is in Jason's office, is the one who receives these donations. So the most efficient thing is just to have her receive checks in a certain fashion. So should they contact her? And would that be would this then be considered solicitation? Or should we have another person who is a friend and not a member of the task force or the town board? That's it.
And so this final question is, who is the person that someone contacts when they wish to donate?
Yes.
Okay.
So is that, solicitation, or is that a point of information? I don't know what counts. Because we could post this on our website or on, temporarily anyway, on at the heads of our trails, on kiosks or other places, if it's not considered fundraising or solicitation.
Okay, I don't know the answer to that question, and I think we're going to need to check with our attorney, with the town attorney.
Okay.
To know.
I mean,
I did get a chance to digest the text that you sent me before the meeting, but
I know I sent it late.
I'll send it along to Nate Van Wy, who's the town attorney. And
okay.
We're considering posting this. We're not soliciting donations. This is information, but
yeah, tell them that.
In that token, in this vein, if would it be possible or allowable, this is I guess a question for the attorney, to post something informative on Facebook that says something to the effect of task force members and town representatives may not solicit donations for the trail. However, if you wish to, on your own volition, make a donation, here's who you need to address
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
So,
It's like a solicitation.
yeah,
We're asking. Right, we're asking.
I appreciate that you bring this up, Judy. I think it's really important, since the town board authorized these different donor levels, right? We already recognize this is kind of town policy. So sharing information that is the town policy should be appropriate. And I think the solicitation is when you do what you were just saying in Facebook and be like, here's this thing, right? So if somebody reaches out to, like Linda, right, reached out to Judy, wanted to know about an opportunity, you're not soliciting that gift, right? They came to you.
Yeah.
Right, so that shouldn't be an issue. People do that and they want information, here's the information, it's all official. I think the problem is the act of us going out and asking people, using the listserv to do that, using Facebook to do that from task force members. If Linda wanted to post on behalf of the Dryden Rail Trail or Chip or whoever wanted to say, hey, here's these opportunities, let me tell you about them.
Yes, then we could just send it as a
friend.
post from someone else, but it's not us.
And then be like, and here's where this information resides, and here's the process. And
That's great.
at the end of the process, it says, send the checks to whatever. And none of that solicitation.
And that can informing the public that there is a process in place for making donations. Is that considered a solicitation, or is that simply informed, like, as a reminder, here's how the town policy is?
I think it's safer if it's not a task force member that put it on behalf of the Facebook post.
Okay.
So here's the thing with Facebook is that all posts are not tied to a person publicly. They all come from the town of Dryden Rail Trail account. But behind the scenes, we know which person made each post. So it could be a non-task force member created a post, but to the outside world,
It's coming
it
from the
came from the
Well,
task
but I mean,
force.
can't you just have the post be signed at the bottom by whoever non-task force member?
Yeah. Okay.
Friend of the rail trail.
That way it's evident that it could go through our channel. It doesn't have to,
Would be better if we shared somebody else's post.
That's the point,
Like,
Yeah.
Skip posted on his Facebook page, which he hates
Which
to
he
do.
never does, or.
And then we say, hey, look what our friend Chip posted about us.
okay.
We.
So that's the cleaner way to do that.
Got it.
Okay, so.
So how about if I revise this in such a way that it could be sent out by people with more complete information on it as to the process?
Yes, as long as they're not appointed members. So just before some people arrived, I was talking with Chip about the fact that we'd love to have more task force members, but the town board has told us that 11 is our capacity. And then I was saying, but there's something very valuable in having somebody who's closely associated with the task force, but is not an appointed person. That is, that person can make solicitation. So I was hitting up earlier, if you would be willing to do that. Yeah. And we have at least one other person, Linda Levine, who's a former town board member and who's interested in the trail, who might want to do that kind of stuff too. And Diane, although you are now a task force member, has lots of experience in you know, what kinds of things how we want to package the messages, you guys. So there are folks within the task force that you could work with to get those messages in place, if you would be willing to kind of head up the effort to get the word out about how to donate. Cool.
Okay.
Just say yes tonight, though. You can think about it.
And who was the person who seemed to be interested in helping but not being a member that you talked to?
Chip right here.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Judy, I have one suggestion perhaps for the wording. You ended with someone you love. And I think maybe I would just drop the you love part, because you might get people interested who are not like, you know, direct family members, but you know, it can, you know, do you really need to love them to make the donation?
Okay. I mean, it says these benches have been kindly donated in memory. If you would like to donate bench, okay, right, in memory of someone. You know, I'll change that, sure. Such a person.
You do briars and
Facing the wrong way.
Okay, you can tell it's getting late, folks.
Yeah.
I think this is wonderful, and thank you for the information about donations and for drafting some language, and thank you for considering doing that. So we'll keep working on this. Good. Okay. I put review roles of task force officers. I have been calling myself the chair. I'm happy to continue being the chair, and at some point a while, really a few years ago, I think Gwen, it was you who told Bob, you really ought to have a vice chair. And I left the role of secretary at that point and became vice chair. And, you know, when Bob left us, it didn't even occur to me that I wouldn't, as vice chair, I thought it was my responsibility to move into that role. And I'm willing to continue, but I'm putting it out there that I would really love to have someone from the task force volunteer to be the backup person. So is there anybody who's just like, to raise a hand right now, or do you want to think about that? The main responsibilities really would be to be aware of what's going on and be ready to jump in and run the meeting. I felt terrible that we had to cancel that meeting in March, but I just couldn't do it, and we didn't have the wherewithal to do that. So
maybe people could think about it.
Okay.
Get back to you privately. Maybe
Okay.
nobody wants it.
I just have questions about, you know, what would it look like? How much time would it take? That kind of
It's gonna
stuff.
be done distance, because I'm gonna be in Canada for much of the year. So,
Okay.
yeah, it could be done.
Yeah, when you travel, it's tough to be there. It can be done, but I think we've made a decision to be running these hybrid meetings. So one thing, I mean, unless we decided in my absence, it would have to be a Zoom meeting, which is a decision that we could make. I've been really appreciating the in-person meetings with folks, but that could be a backup plan too. If somebody would just be willing to run the Zoom meeting, it wouldn't be a hybrid. It'd be much simpler to run a Zoom meeting. So, okay, please let me know if you would.
And I think it would be wonderful if you approach someone you thought would be the right person and you would do it. Because, you know, you want to work with that person, right? So I'm just encouraging you to think about that.
I'll be calling you soon, Tony.
So welcome to that one.
Okay, great. We are past the time that we set for this meeting, and I wanted to just put on the agenda, considering adding the mini forest presentation to the next agenda. I would have put it on this agenda, but when I go over the list of action items from the past session, there are so many things that we really need to talk about that it's hard to devote some time. An alternative that I came up with after I sent the agenda was a subcommittee. And Judy is interested, and so Judy and I and Marion would like to meet to talk about this and can bring back a brief report to the group. Does that sound?
I love that.
Yeah.
Um, if I could just remind folks, we agreed to plant some trees along the, it's not Saunders Concrete,
It's not even Hanson Aggregates anymore.
it's whatever the name is there, between Pinckney and Hallwoods Road.
Yeah.
And even if we didn't agree to do that, it would be nice to have some screening on that section of the trail. So that's
Green screening.
green screening.
Green screening, yeah, that's exactly where I thought of too. And actually, there was an opportunity to do a tree planting, and Jean and I connected Cornell Cooperative Extension folks who wanted to do that planting with Jean Grace from our conservation board, who's the city forester, and she went and looked at that site and said, too many invasives for our purpose for this planting, so it's not an easy site.
Can we bring in some grapplers and just pull up some of that honeysuckle? Because it's so invasive and it takes up so much space. And I know we had some of that work done at our place. It's just a machine, a small machine that grasps it by the root and pulls it right up.
Yeah. Or we could request that the DPW folks do some of that.
It would improve it so much, and then it would leave loose some loose terrain where you could put things right in.
Good. Yeah. So we're interested, we're swamped, so we would.
Yeah.
But a subcommittee, I think, is a good way to hash out some of the details and then come back and report them. Good. Okay. Any other items? So Judy, Marion is here. She and I will maybe come up with some potential times, and should we then loop you in by text, by email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I meant to be there tonight. I just did something to my wrist and it's hurting a lot and I can't drive. So I hope I'll be okay next week.
Well, this is the kind of occasion that makes us glad that we do have the hybrid meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gwen, you're in Massachusetts, but you're still your sister, but you're still joining us. So this is great. This is great. Thank you, everyone, for your participation tonight. And we have lots to move forward with and lots of great contributions. So thank you and good night.
Night.
Thanks.
Did we establish the?
Our next meeting, I'm sorry. Our next meeting, I'll say it out loud, is 7 p.m. Confirm next meeting. No, it's June. It's in June. I just
The 2 days after.
May 6th, June 16th. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
That's the third. We are always the third Monday of every month. Good. Okay. Thanks, everybody.